few seconds to like log in, but I'm so thankful for you to do this. I mean, it's been
Sure.
such an interesting year for us fans. Waiting 2 years for this to come out, we've been
Sure.
had the amazing episode, and then surprises with the arcs, which was like, and then it's
You
just
know,
like such an amazing show.
Greg and Brandon always love to create um, complicated storylines. I don't want to, or I'm going to use the word intricate storylines. So, with something like Phantoms, they they always have an underlying theme with their season, and one of the really fascinating things about Phantoms was I never got to read any of the parts that I'm not in.
Literally was going to be one of my questions, which was like, you're not in. I mean, you were pretty much in every
Well,
episode of season
I
one.
actually can't talk about
Oh no, no,
my
no! I'm
part
not.
of
I'm
Phantoms
not.
at all. I mean,
Uh,
if I'm in them, no one
yeah,
knows.
yeah.
But
Sorry, my
you know,
apologies. Yeah, no phantom questions. But you're pretty much in every episode of season one. You're very
yeah,
present in all of season two.
yeah.
Obviously, even though in the first 4 episodes you really weren't there, so do you actually get the scripts for all the episodes, or do you just get the ones you're in?
No. So even in seasons 1, 2, and 3, I would not receive the scripts for the episodes I wasn't in. Naturally, doesn't really. It's pretty standard. But if I wanted to know what happened in those episodes, I would just have to ask. I'd have to ask Greg and Brandon, like, I seem to be missing something here. What happened here? What's this connection there? So frequently, when it comes on, I'm a fan watching it at the same time as you guys are for a certain percentage of
Hmm.
the show,
So you
right?
didn't know
Unless they
Connor's.
have a premiere or a party where they're going to show us the whole season, which they never do. There's guaranteed to be things that I'm seeing for the first time,
Such as Superboy's death,
such as that.
such
Yes,
as
as
that, which
and I was like, what's happening
what?
here? what's, what's
Now you know how we felt when we watched Wally die in season two.
phone call that came in?
Oh, I can hear you.
Hold on,
You're a bit fuzzy. Oh,
hold on a second.
that's
I
okay.
had a phone call come in, and it just nuked the stream. Okay,
That's all right.
I think I'm back.
Oh, hi Tiffany. Pleasure to see you again. Yeah, I know, but yeah. So you had pretty much the same experience we did with the ending of season two with Connor's death. I'm assuming.
Yes, and I. It's interesting because uh, Forager wasn't in much of the end of season 3 either. If you look at the scenes that he's talking in, uh, there's not a lot of Forager dialogue at the end of
Yeah,
season 3. So what happens is whenever there's not Forager dialogue, you may see him on the screen and he may be part of the scene or whatever, but they might be
yeah, that
using
makes sense.
like a wall bank. Like we stand there and we do things like we do clicks and we do, call outs, like, Geoforce. We do call outs and then they have them just in case they need them in an episode where you don't have dialogue, but they
Oh,
can.
like what's the second film crew that do all the like the hand stuff when on the one on film
Right,
set?
right. They call it a Walla library in our business. So
Uh,
I didn't know what the end of season 3 was like at all. I actually didn't have a clue. So I don't know what it is about Greg and Brandon wanting to like kill people. What's the deal with that? But yeah, I don't know what to say. But not fun, not great, not the best feels.
okay.
Though I mean, if they killed Nolan, what do I care? I'm kidding.
Have you had the conversation with Nolan of who died better?
Yeah, well, there's no question that Kid Flash has the best going out. it's so unexpected, and it's just so heartrending, and he fades away. Are you kidding me? Forget it. And he went first. So everything else is just a copy.
Well, I think Kent Nelson went first. I mean, he was that was a shocking thing in season 1 that you actually see people die. And obviously for the age rating that they don't do gruesome, but they're still dead.
I'm having a little
You're a bit crackly.
Yeah, can I just
go for it.
Disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah, go for it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's Jason Spisak. We got Jason Spisak here. Please stay whilst we sort out these technical issues. I will be asking him some fan questions from multiple sources. So if you guys are following me on Twitter, some of the questions I got are from there. And if you are new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. I do reviews and breakdowns during this entire season. Now we play the waiting game. This is tense. But yeah, we were clearly having some microphone issues there. So he should be back in a moment once he's restarted everything. If you have any questions, please write them in the comment section below. I see Tiffany there from Quizzes. If you have anything, I've got 3 viewers, which is rather surprising considering the response I got on Instagram, Twitter. But thank you for joining us. Now is the awkward. Hi, Sam. Oh, now it's just there he is. Yeah, it's just the awkward waiting.
Oh man, that's so
Oh man, I can't ad lib to save.
Is this better? Is my audio better?
So much better.
Okay.
So much better. I think your phone call absolutely threw it for a ringer.
It did.
And then after that,
well, we're better off now. So anyway,
we are way better off. Oh.
If you're watching this and you haven't watched Young Justice, that was a huge spoiler. Too bad. Go watch it.
Oh yeah, when he reveals that that character's coming back and that person's dying and boom.
Yeah. But I imagine the people watching this have already watched season 1 of Young Justice.
I hope they would have watched season 2 and season 3, considering we just discussed. Hope everyone's up to date.
Yeah. By the way, at the end of season 3, that was a nuclear spoiler. All right.
Oh yeah. But no, so I mean, you were saying about the shock factor with your death. I've got to say, I was completely with the shock factor because they can add in the gore now. So
yeah, that's true. I think one of the things that was shocking about Kid Flash's evisceration was that it was still on Cartoon Network at the time. So there was a different sense of the series. I mean, it was edgy for kids' cable cartoon television, but it wasn't nearly what they're able to do on HBO Max, because the shackles are off completely on HBO Max, right? They just have to be aware of not turning off their audience, but they don't have to hold back. So yeah, I mean, if you compare things, season 1 and season 2 were Cartoon Network level trauma.
Yeah.
Right?
But
I mean, granted, it still managed to move the audience in an incredible way. It's just a different way of doing it. I don't know.
That's quite right. I mean, once you just turn rate, and it kind of does make a bit more sense considering that the people who were watching in season 1 and season 2 are about 7 years older now.
Right. And Greg and Brandon take that into account when they're writing and when they are creating a story. You can feel the weight of the increased adulthood in season 2, and you can feel the weight of even further increased adulthood in season 3, and they're not afraid to track their audience's age while still making sure that new fans can come on that are younger. They're not leaving those people behind, because they're always bringing on younger characters whose point of view can be closer to those younger fans. But your older characters like Superboy and Miss Martian and Artemis, they've got a lot of life behind them now, as do the fans that grew up with them. It's not an accident. that Greg and Brandon are making these kind of writing choices and thematic choices. They are doing it for the audience, being sure to include them and make the story meaningful. So yeah, it's a real thing because it's a real thing.
Now, speaking of stories, now we are clearly into the next arc, which is entirely Artemis Croc. So Stephanie's 4 episodes. I'm not quite sure if you guys enjoy the fact that you. No, I'm not. I'm not asking. No, 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 no. I wouldn't ask for spoilers for that. But if you, I mean, as a cast member, do you feel like you've been given, hey, we've devoted 4 episodes entirely to you? Does that kind of separate you from the other cast, or does that kind of feel like you're being more treated and respected and
No,
valued and talented?
no. I think what the audience will realize after they watch the remainder of Phantoms, they'll realize that this is a choice. This is a choice that the creators are making on how to best tell complicated stories in a short number of episodes. So, and I don't want to speak for Greg and Brandon here because I think they would do a better job of explaining it. But from what it was explained to me is that in season 3, they had this euphoria because the internet and fans brought back the show for a 3rd season. And the gloves were off because they're going to be on a streaming service at the time, DC Universe. And they bit off way more than they could chew with the allotted time and the scope that DC Universe was comfortable with them taking, I think. Because, again, if you just let Greg and Brandon tell a story, I mean, it's going to be expansive. It's going to include tons of characters because Greg's knowledge of the DC Universe is incredible. And I remember talking to them about it, and they're like, yeah, we bit off just a little bit more than we could chew, and we felt that they wanted to give more characters their due, but we're unable to do so, just sort of like when you're taking a test and you leave the hard questions to the end, and then you're like rushing to answer those hard questions. And they wanted to try a different approach for season 4. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That, very well put. Very well put. What I would say, I know how much effort they put into it because Christopher Jones, did once tell me that in their little office there is like a full-on whiteboard of just post-it notes and strings and like how complicated it is, and there's a fan mysterious holy bible of 1,000-page history of like 100,000 years of Young Justice and events that they have in timelines. It's like the holy grail of Young Justice fandom. So yeah, they definitely put as much time and effort into it as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And you pull it off all brilliantly.
Yeah, well, I blame the great writing for that because while Greg and Brandon have these post-it notes on the wall and index cards, actually, I think they've upgraded to index cards and color-coded. When you're in a writer's meeting with them, I mean, the writing for the show has to take all of that into account and make it come out in the story in a believable fashion, sometimes with a minimal amount of dialogue and words. And the show tends to be, to me, it tends to move the ball down the field with a lot less dialogue for many stories than any show I've ever seen. And that's credit to the writers who work with Greg and Brandon because there are many.
I can summarize that in one word, and that is photo of last episode.
Right.
Just like that is so cute and so heartbreaking at the same time. What?
Yeah, it's just a photo. Yeah,
well,
I actually took a screenshot of that moment with the photograph and was gonna post it, but I wanted to wait until a lot of people had seen it. I think just a little bit. You know, like I'm always hesitant to rush to post that stuff because anybody who is a Young Justice fan, you know, if they're following me on Instagram or whatever, I have to be careful because I don't want to spoil anything for them. I mean, not that would. I mean, really, just it would get you in the feels. That's literally all it would probably do to see that still image. But yeah. I mean, that photo, I literally, when I was watching, I was like, oh, wait, stop. I have to stream this on my phone. And then I got to that point in the episode, and then I took a screenshot with my phone. Like, that's how much that photo got me, personally. Anyway.
I could just make one personal recommendation, and that is if you ever get together with the entire cast and crew of that photo, recreate it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that would be great. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I do come up with some good photo ideas. For example, I was the one who dropped off the 4 fingers when season 4 was announced in at Comic-Con.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I was the guy who yelled out season 4 during that panel.
Yeah, I remember you were there, and we're sitting there in the chairs, and we're in the chairs because they didn't have us up on stage. And this is San Diego Comic-Con 2019. I think. And was it? I think it was 2019.
Yeah, 2019. It was the 50th one.
Yeah, and we're sitting there, all holding hands, and Greg and Brandon are up on stage making this announcement, and then Greg just comes right out and says, "We got a season 4, or season 3," and then sorry, we got a season. Sorry, I'm like losing my mind here. He goes, "We got a season 4," and then in my left ear, because the audience is going like wild a bit.
Yeah.
And
so we got a season 3, and then I yell out season 4.
Yeah, and then I hear this weird sound, and it's just you echoing in a room of like hundreds.
And then Greg puts his hand up and then goes one, and then the entire audience explodes.
Yeah.
So if San Diego Comic-Con does start next year, I am definitely going to be in that podium. I'm going to be yelling out season 5.
That's right. Yeah, because you have 5 digits on one hand, so you just hold it up,
And then next year, season 6.
All right. When they get to season 10, you're going to be taking your shoes off. So. Yeah.
Well, mathematics. Yeah, we. At what point do you think you would stop?
Stop what?
Like season? What? How many seasons would you like? There are some shows like Stargate or Smallville that go on like 10 seasons.
Yeah,
or
way past that. I mean, Young Justice and the DC universe can go easily past that. I mean, I'm up for 50 seasons. I don't care. I mean, I can still do the voices as long as they give me characters to play. Just keep it rolling. It's one of the reasons you would have an HBO Max subscription. So why stop it?
Yeah, not exactly easy for us Brits to get.
Yeah, I know, and that's the one thing I don't like about the federation of television, the way that it's become, because it used to be, cable was kind of the first round of federating that, because you had the broadcast stations, and then you had cable and satellite, and now you have streaming services. And the only thing I don't like about that is it's harder to get them in some places. Like it's not that you can't get the ones and zeros. It's that there's these agreements in place that just prevent you from getting the content, and they're arbitrary. They're completely arbitrary. And I know it's business. I know it's business dealings, but it's not that you can't get the ones and zeros over the internet. That's not what's preventing you. Like if it was a broadcast station where you can't receive the signal, you can't get it. So what, you cry in your pint at that point. But if you can get the ones and zeros, and it's just some arbitrary gatekeeper on the other side, it can be very frustrating. What I wish there was somebody at HBO Max or whoever has the power that would just say, "Hey, fans, if you want this in your country and you want it to be easy to access, do this." Like when Greg said, "Just binge watch YJ." And you will get another season, or at least it's the thing you can do that will have the effect. We can't promise that it will. At least it gives you something to do that you think would work. But right now, like I don't even know with these streaming services what they want from fans to say, look, we want the show. We want to be able to watch it. you think it's a money thing, right? Like, I'll pay for my subscription.
Yeah,
But
I
you got
mean,
to make
I'm
sure.
willing to pay for mine.
Yeah.
DC Universe was so much easier to get than
Yeah.
HBO Max, and just like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't really want to go through the steps of HBO Max just in case it's not 100% board. But oh god, is it complicated to do it? And it's like makes it so much harder for like fans to show their support rather than hang on, I can either do this super complicated where I have to pay money, or I can just find it on the internet for free.
Right.
And
And
that
this is
doesn't help
from
support the
me
show.
to everybody on the internet. Don't
Yeah.
go find it for free. There's so many
No.
people whose jobs depend on the income generated through the streaming service, and that's how you get the show. So that's why I wish somebody would say, okay, if you're in X country, you need to do this if you want
This.
your subscription to be have this content, or who you can say about how complicated it is. But I just don't see anyone giving that course of action to the fans. And fans can be a very powerful force. It's not that they can be a very powerful force for good and a powerful force for evil. So
We got season 3 back, for crying out loud.
You get to choose
Mm.
which force the fans are playing with as, content creators, executives, whoever in charge of streaming channels. Like, you actually get to give the fans the tools necessary to help you accomplish your goal, which is to get everyone on the planet to watch your stuff. Isn't that the goal? So
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
with DC Universe, I never understood it because it's like you've got America only has 5% of the world's population, so you've only got 5% of the world's potential customers there.
True.
So what is the difficulty of just opening up and having access to 95% of the potential increase in sales? I never got it.
And it would be different if it was somehow stopping it from ending up on the internet pirated, which it's not. And it would be different if it wasn't household based. Like, you actually do stand to get more subscribers if you open it up, to the rest of the world. You actually get paid per household that has it. It's not like a difficult math equation where you're like, well, if we open it up to the rest of the world, then we're not going to get as much revenue per whatever. It's super simple. If your household has it, that's it.
So Sam B just said we have the force suite. Yes, we have the force. Actually,
ruining my plans.
Yes. Speaking of, now I know in previous interviews you prefer voice acting over real acting, but you have done real acting in the past.
Oh, you mean on camera?
Yeah, on camera.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I would do voice acting because I don't have to travel anywhere. I don't have to sit in the makeup chair. Like, there's a lot of benefits to it. One of the detriments is that nobody knows my face. So I don't have the same kind of clout as an actor that's been on Game of Thrones, for example.
Well,
but
you don't have those stalker
trade-off
peoples.
is okay. Yeah. I'm still working.
Would you? I mean, that you don't have to reveal anything, but the Ahsoka series, live action series, is coming up. You did play a key part of that character's life and social upbringing for a very chunk. Would you? I mean, cameo or a couple of episodes doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, I would do whatever.
You could still pull off looks. You've got the look. You've got the voice.
They're not casting the voice actors in the live action shows. They've already proven that they're not doing that. I mean, they are kind of. Ahsoka is not the same person. Ahsoka.
Oh yes, I've met Ashley. She's lovely, but she is obviously not. So it's Rosario Dawson. But there have been occasions.
There have been a few instances.
Yeah,
right.
Like what's his name?
Mandalorian, who played
Skywalker. Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name as well. But the guy who played Skywalker made a cameo appearance in Mandalorian. So if you were only reduced to a cameo, would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I would do anything. I would be happy to be on any project that David is doing. I think, honestly, I don't know if David even likes Lux. I think he's always seen him as a bit of a foppy, rich kid. And That's one of the reasons why we didn't see him in Rebels on Onderon. That's one of the reasons we didn't see Lux anywhere else in the canon. Isn't because I wouldn't make a cameo or I wouldn't be happy to do him. It's because I don't think Dave Filoni really likes Lux as a character all that much. And and I don't mean to say that they're not all his babies. I just mean furthering the story where the story is going. Lux served a purpose to show that Ahsoka, had this temptation to, stray from the Jedi path. Jedis aren't allowed to fall in love. She was conflicted about it. You have the purpose that Lux served, and then to kick off the rebellion on Onderon is past. So I'm not sure that Dave sees another reason to bring Lux back. I struggle with believing that that's the case. And again, of course, if Dave picked up the phone or anybody was like, Jason, would you play Lux again? I'd be like, gladly.
So do you actually know when I know this, but do you actually know where the last reference for Lux is?
In the books?
Okay, the last reference for Lux Bonteri is actually after Return of the Jedi in the novelization of Inferno Squadron.
Yeah, that's what somebody told me.
Yeah, and you were the option was to kill you off or kill your character off, but they did leave it open, intentionally left it open with the character who shot your character didn't have kill, had stun. So there is an intentional option for you to your Lux. I keep saying you, but it's not you, it's Lux.
Right.
Lux
well,
is
look,
still Lux.
Again, I am more than happy if Lux finds his way into a story.
Lux Bonteri live action, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Although
the age is right.
What did he end up to do after he started the Rebels, with them on Onderon? I mean, like, what was his end? Where was he?
I'm so happy my Star Wars geekdom comes into play. I mean, you've seen my Mandalorian gear. It's just
yeah.
So
I'm not even familiar with where he ended up at the end of that.
Okay, so for Lux, I'm going to say you. Just like if I keep saying Lux, it's just a bit. So Lux continued growing up as a politician,
right?
But he wasn't pro-Empire. So what next happened was that he married into a family, an imperial family, and had a stepdaughter who was working in the Imperium. Next was that Lux started leaking the identities of several key Imperial officers to the rebellion, and the rebellion.
Right.
Now, Inferno Squadron was sent to find this out. I'm so sorry. I never actually read this book.
No. Actually, you know what? That's fine. We don't need to go down that whole rabbit hole. But I just was curious. So he did end up being kind of a political spy.
Yeah, you were a political spy for a long time. So yeah, and you fought the Empire in your own way, and you got married, and had a stepdaughter.
Yeah. All right.
Which I'm sure a lot of fans were not upset that it wasn't a certain Sir Gruden, but
right.
Do you go for these roles just because you get the hot girls?
Yeah. Why else?
Because you got Artemis, you got Lux, and you got Aya. Okay, so your last three.
Why else would I do any role? I mean, literally, when it comes to me, I read it and I go, "Where's the hot girl?" No, to be honest, I just hope it's a good character. That's all I hope, because I want the writing to be good and the story to be great, and but I'll work on just about anything. I can make just about anything entertaining. So yeah,
you made
I don't have a very high bar.
Entertaining. I think that's impressive enough.
My bar is like, are there words? Okay, that's it.
You don't even need that.
Yeah, well then it's the animator.
You can do it with talking.
Okay.
Okay. So so I can't remember. See, because I was talking to you beforehand, I can't remember if I brought up the arcane before we went live. Yes, we did, because everyone was talking. We were waiting for everyone to appear.
So arcane is incredible. It's just incredible.
Okay, so I actually do have some fan questions here, and in fact, the YJ kid is here who didn't know she could make it, but asked me to leave the question. How much has the show, and I'm assuming this is Young Justice, affected you?
Me personally,
You
it's
personally.
it's brought a lot of people into my life that otherwise wouldn't be there. You, Megan, and as far as the actor side goes, I knew Nolan before, but I know him better now, and Jesse and everybody, and me and Stephanie. I mean, I knew her before she had her kids, and now
I'm glad you knew her
I
before
give her
you
sound
actually had to.
studio advice. If she
I'm
asks.
glad you knew her before you had to do the whole kissing bit.
Yeah, AJ forgives me, and we. So really, it's the people who were brought into my life because of the show who would otherwise not be there that I think have had a net positive benefit on my life. That's really what it is.
Well, V Sam has actually just said that your role as Razor in the Green Lantern animated series taught me something very important that I've never forgotten, even after all this time.
Yeah, and it's funny when I did Razor. I mean, as an actor, you draw on parts of yourself that fit the character, and there's a lot of anger and resentment and heavy sarcasm in Razor. And my portrayal of him, I had a lot of anger and stuff. When you grow up and you are younger, sometimes your anger can get away from you and push people away, or be a protective wall that you put up so you don't get hurt. And Razor helped me kind of put that out there in public in a way. I mean, I'm not going to say I worked through anger management by being angry. That's not how you do it. But it was interesting to just have an accounting of that in my own self as I'm portraying this character, and like, wow, I really do this really well. I could be super sarcastic and very angry, and it feels grounded. It doesn't feel forced. Why is that? Maybe that's something I have to look at. And to be honest, that's why I love Razor and his story so much, because it's a journey that a lot of young people go through where they have anger and they think it's their weapon, but they don't realize that it's really hurting themselves or others. It's a journey that a lot of young human beings can relate to.
I mean, a lot of people are still hoping for a season 2. I know it's sadly not possible, but I would have loved the season 2.
Yeah, well, I think the viewership just wasn't there, and while the story touches a lot of people, it didn't have the viewership of Young Justice. So, one can hope. I'll play the live action Razor too, if they ever have it.
Well, you say that, but obviously
After
Artemis Croc has.
Shard, they've unlocked the secret as to where they dump their garbage. Can total victory be far behind?
Well, now, obviously, if you're quoting them, you are happy saying the lines again. But speaking of live action, there has been a live action Artemis Croc in the latest Stargirl. So I didn't. It's like I always want to ask Steph if she's actually met Stella Smith, who plays that role, and also is this leading to a Young Justice here, because that character didn't exist before
a Young
the
Justice
success of Steph.
Live action?
Live action, yeah.
Well, I mean, they spent a lot of money on Titans, and it's like, I don't know how they would reconcile that. I mean, they have an Aqualad in Titans, and they have a bunch of things that is just a totally different universe. So I don't know how they would reconcile that. But yeah, I imagine Stephanie's probably never met her face to face. And again, it's strange because these characters are not ours. It's as if you're playing Hamlet, and there's lots of different actors who played Hamlet. Like there's lots of different actors who played the Joker, and my portrayal of the Joker is my portrayal of the Joker. It's not Mark's. It's not anybody's.
No, but I would have to slightly disagree with that one, because it's like Steph's Artemis Croc was completely new and fresh.
True.
And she was like, I think her character has done a very good Harley Quinn, which was Harley Quinn never appeared in any Batman series, anything Batman related, until Batman the animated series came out, and that character was so successful in the animated series, they put her in other stuff, and
That's correct.
unfortunately with Artemis Croc, with Steph's one, who seems to fly. So, do you know about her one appearance in the comics of Artemis
Who?
Croc?
Artemis?
Croc. Yeah.
No, I don't actually. I'm not familiar with
Well,
that.
they brought out the Young Justice version of Artemis Croc in the New 52, and they killed her in the same issue. Which is just like, why? But
well,
I was hoping
remember, when you're a creator, a lot of times you want to make something your own. And I think this is a credit to Stephanie. It's very difficult to see Artemis Croc as something other than what Stephanie has done, because it's been so popular, and it's been popular for a decade plus, that if you're going to write a story about it as a comic book artist or as anybody else, imagine how difficult it would be to just divorce yourself completely from what Stephanie's done. I mean, to me, it's almost a double-edged sword, that if you take a character that hasn't had a whole lot of screen time and you get to do it as an actor and you knock it out of the park for a decade, you've almost peed all over it so that nobody else can really do anything with it. And it's a double-edged sword, right? Rather than it becoming incredibly popular, perhaps it's an impetus for people to go, well, see, we did a little thing with Artemis Croc, but nobody can get on us about it because it was so short. Nobody can say, this really isn't like the Artemis we know from Young Justice. And, they might be afraid of a little fan friction rather than fiction, and they just keep it quick. There's a lot of dynamics that go into creating artwork, like comics or any kind of series. Even Greg and Brandon were scared to do Young Justice because they're like, oh, we can't do Teen Titans. We can't do that. We can't do, Batman Brave and the Bold. Like they got offered this show, and I've heard them talk about what it was like to create Young Justice, the very first season, and how they were frightened because there's all of these other things out there in the world. They're like bumpers that you're going to bump up against that are not like what you're creating. And sometimes it's a hard line to walk. So I don't know. I wouldn't throw anybody who's tried to do Artemis and got out of it quickly. I wouldn't throw them under the bus. I would say that might be a credit to Stephanie.
I was just like, that is a very, very good point. Is that like you're trying
and
to
live action wise, I don't know. It's a whole different ball of wax. So,
well, they have done a lot. The gentleman who played the original Flash in the original TV series has come back as Jay Garrick so many times. It's just,
no, that's true. And there's something about live action when you put your face on it that it tends to have a little bit longer staying power than if you just lent your voice to a character. That's what
have you met any of the other voice actors who portrayed Wally West, like Michael from the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited? No,
I've never met any other Wallys. It would be really interesting to get us all together at a table, though.
Well, you go to
my
the right
lips
events,
to Comic-Con's ears, baby.
Wally West meets Wally West meets Wally West.
Yeah, bring them all on board, and we'll have a Wally West fest.
Did you watch the Justice League and the Unlimited to get a gauge of what Wally is like, or did you just kind of like they gave you a?
No, I tend not to do that. Personally, I just tend to connect with the material, what's in front of me, what is this writer's point of view, what is the tone of the piece and the show, any artwork that they're giving me. I tend to just focus on what's in front of me. I don't watch other canons or other things. Like I didn't do that with the Joker, just because ultimately it's my take on the character that the producer wants, unless they specifically ask me. If the producer says, hey, we'd like you to be like this, this portrayal of the Joker or this, and they give me guidelines, then I'll take it in. Of course I will. Now, yeah, I didn't watch anything else related to KF prior to being on the show. I mean, comics kind of don't count because comics aren't performances of an actor. They're performances of an artist and a writer. So they're not the same metric.
So there wasn't a point where you were looking forward to Wally West winning the national lottery, which happened in the comics.
No. Yeah, but I wasn't looking forward to him dying either. So it's kind of nice, I guess.
Very good point. Now, speaking to Greg and Brandon, Ryan Renard asks, did Greg and Brandon know you could do or make the Forager bug voice before giving you the role and bring in the character?
This is a great question, because Brandon and I will have dinner every, prior to COVID, we'd have dinner, once a month or whatever, just to how are each other doing? How's your family? How's everything? And, we talked a little bit about the new season, and I was like, so, is KF going to be there? Kid Flash? And he goes, no, Kid Flash is dead.
Keep asking those questions. Keep asking those.
This is a real world where there are real consequences, so give up on that. And he's like, well, I mean, Wally does make an appearance, and this is season 3 that happened, and tells me a little bit about that. And he goes, but we have this other character, and we're not sure what to do with the voice of. And I said, well, who is it? And he says, well, Forager, and he's a bug. And I was like, oh, what does he mean he's a bug? Because I've never seen Forager in the comics. And so I just looked online really quick the moment he told me and brought up some pictures of Forager. And like in the comics, he's like a real, insect or bug thing. And we didn't have any of Phil's art yet. Phil Barassa. We didn't have any of his artwork of what Forager that you guys see at that time. It was just what had been in the comics. And he was like, well, so here's what we're thinking for this character. And we talked about it briefly, and they were still getting a sense of what he would sound like. Is he attached to what kind of personality is he? So then it was just at lunch, and I started throwing out all these ideas. I'm like, well, what if, he's got these different relationships to things, like a banana is to you something, but to him it's something completely else. Like it's actually a living creature, or like, we just had all these creative brainstorming sessions, and we're just talking about Forager. And then I'm like, yeah, and what if his voice sounded like this, and he was just more bug-like, and yes. And so like in the middle of this conversation, I bust out this voice, and it's just part of being an artist. It's part of having artist friends, and just really letting it organically kind of fill in the gaps. And we had a couple of lunches like that, and I'd always bring back stuff that I had been thinking about or researching. I'm like, and he could do these bug sounds, and they listen to what I say, and they don't think I'm nuts, and they go, well, okay, I think, and then they would make some fine tuning, because that's what you do when somebody's guiding the ship, like Greg or Brandon, and you let them guide you to the place that they feel is best. And the same was true of Fred Bug with 2 G's, because I get the script, he's going to put on this glamour charm, and I look at it and I go, this voice that we've got is very bug-like, and the audience is going to feel that voice is married on to the visual of Forager, because this visual that Phil created is so strong. Anytime you see that picture, you're going to want to hear this voice. It's just married. So if we change his appearance and leave the voice the same, it's just going to be grating for the audience. It's going to be weird. And could we use this cheat that we used, where we modified Stephanie's voice a little bit, of Artemis's voice a little bit, when she put on the glamour charm, just a bit? Can I modify it and play into that conceit that when the image is different, the voice is different, and other people, i.e. the audience, are hearing something different when they see Fred Bug with 2 G's? And they go, okay. I was just asking them this, and I just got the script, and we're coming in to record that day. So like literally we're sitting in front of the booth. The door to record is that way, and the door for the producers to sit and watch the record is that way. And we're staying in this little alcove, and I'm like, I kind of think this voice needs to be different. And in 5 minutes we're going to be recording. And they go, okay, yeah, what would he sound like? And I go, well, then he has to sound like Fred Bug with two G's. He has to have like this damaged sort of voice. And because Injustice Outsiders is about humans and creatures that just don't feel like they fit in. And so what I created there in the moment was a voice, what it would be like to be a human boy of that age and also sound like your voice doesn't quite fit in. Right. So it has the same underlying thematic elements of Forager's voice, but in a different context. That's where Fred Bug with two G's came from. I'm Fred Bug with two G's. And so it has this sort of thing where his vocal cords don't quite come together. And anyway.
And I do say you do a very good job of not making your characters sound like anyone else. Because I mean, I didn't know if you saw that, you remember this, but I was playing Jurassic Park Lego, and then I was like, "Hang on, this voice sounds familiar." And then I was like, "Is that you, Jason?"
Yeah.
And then I was just like, "It is," because
I snuck in there.
Because it would be so odd. It would be so odd to hear like one character voice come from a completely different one.
That happens a lot. There are plenty of voice actors whose voice you can pick out a mile away, and they sound similar in different shows. There's plenty of that. I tend to get asked to play characters for which that would feel wrong. I don't know how or why, but producers end up putting me in the roles that.
Oh, okay.
The voice
we had
is
some
a big
freezing
piece
there.
of defining. Yeah. So
we had some
it
freezing
seems to be where I end up. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Your crackles add to the Fred Bug and Forager motif.
Oh, is my voice still crackling?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's okay. We were on an international live stream here. It's not the first time that I've had some problems with this. When I was quizzing with Zira, she froze and then super sped for 15 seconds, just doing like this, catching up with her. So it's not a problem. And obviously, I would love if you, Steph, and some of the others could join us for. I have got quiz round 4 at some point. If you would like to join us for that.
Is there a reason you don't live stream on Instagram? Because it's flawless? Where are you using a different platform? I'm just curious. And there's not a judgment either way because I'm not.
No, it's just I have more people here than I have on Instagram. Most of my Instagram people are people that I know. Here is obviously so. Otherwise, it's like, who is this person? No offense, who is this person he's talking to, and what are they talking about? But it's so hard. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers, and it's like trying to climb a mountain with just your chin. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but it doesn't matter. What you're saying is worth saying, whether there's 2 people watching or 1,000.
And that does show. I mean, when I first started this entire thing, it was. I'm not going to go into details and make this a story or a video all about me. But when I started doing this, I know, wow, that makes a difference in people's lives, even if it's just 4 people, 5 people that follow and subscribing. I know YJ fans only just starting. She's got like 3 subscribers, but I tell her, don't let the bad stuff get in the way. You're doing this. I don't do this as a job. I do this as a hobby, and
that's right.
Doing it.
Yeah, so, no one can tell you. No one can tell you how successful your hobby is.
Yeah, and I have had so many fun experiences. If I hadn't have done this, I mean, free live quizzes, dinner with you guys are just like climbing mountains, jumping out of planes, running marathons, and the whole lot. So I'm so happy to do this. And anyone who is watching, don't let the naysayers stop you from doing stuff like this.
You're here.
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left, but I'm going to give one fan question, and then there are 2 things we're going to do just before we end. Fan question. Okay.
Boy, I'm sorry, my voice is crackling. That's no fun at all.
Well, it's not you as the speaker. It's okay. Hopefully, when we get to the line part, we might have to reset and do it all again because.
Yeah, that might be good. Maybe we'll both hang up and then I'll call you. you back.
Yeah. Okay. So one question from the fans, and we'll go with Sarah Flynn. Jason, what is your favorite Young Justice character besides Wally? I think it'd be a bit in
And
trouble
I
if
can't say Forager. Don't say Wally or Forager. Let's see.
or Artemis.
Yeah, well, boy, you took my guess because I like Artemis. I have two daughters, and they looked up to Artemis, for a period of time when they were that age. That you look up to cartoon heroes, and I mean, I really like Artemis. I really like the journey she's been on and how strong she is, and she's a good symbol for young women to look up to. I love it. I have to say.
And she's got a 4-arc.
Yeah. So I mean, and if it's not Artemis and it's not Wally and it's not Forager, then I get
Who else
this Lucas
play?
Park. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Tell Greg I said so.
Well, I did ask Greg. See, as you know, you do a lot of kissing. I was asked Greg. It's like, hang on, did you kiss a hand or did you kiss Tara Strong? But he ended up he copped out. He kissed a hand. I was just saying that is so unfair. You make them kiss each other. You should kiss people.
Yeah, he has no problem using us for his designs. That's for sure. For his master plan, and it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing, and then we're going to cut to do something very special for those Green Lantern fans here among us. Okay, this one is a rather. This is kind of a tell me what you see here, because I see someone there in the intro.
I can't see that. What is that? Is that the intro to YJ?
That's the intro to YJ, and here, and the glove here.
That looks like Impulse.
I thought so too, but the glove doesn't match.
Yeah, that's true.
So
well, if you remember, Impulse became Kid Flash, and it could be that he's wearing my costume and they're making some sort of small changes so that it looks like, because he did put on the Wally West costume.
I'll leave that as your story, but I would say it's in the Team 1 roster, and that's what you're going with, by all means. I mean, I've done the maths, and 7 divided by 4, actually 6 divided by 4, because Miss Martian and Superboy had the same 4. If everyone had a story arc, they still leave 2. But that's just maths.
It sure does.
I'm not saying anything else. Okay, not asking.
You know what I have to say is you're pretty good at math. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, you've said your piece. You've said my piece. I just we'll leave it at that. I'm just getting that out now because it's like so many. Yeah, that's clearly Icon. No, it's art. No, it's that character. No, it's that. It's like, yeah. I'm just saying now on Wednesday, November. I said it first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and speaking of, if we wait 7 minutes, I can wish Wally a happy birthday.
You could.
But yes, Wally.
Happy birthday! We're really glad you came. Happy birthday, boy! This song is lame. Yeah.
Still
happy
6
birthday.
minutes. My end.
Insert name here. Wait, is that what I'm supposed
Wally
to
West?
say? Dang it! Yeah.
Okay, so we'll cut. Try and get our mics to work, and then we're going to do something very, very special.
That's why I'm not with you. Excuse me. For 7 minutes, I'm just going to sneeze on your stream.
I mean, relating. I mean, I volunteered at the British Heart Foundation for a couple of months, which gave me every Thursday off, and I still have every Thursday off. That's karma. So I could watch it. But yeah, I mean, I developed allergies, so it's kind of like I'm trying to do a good thing, but it's making me sick. So plus side, I've got all Thursdays off now, so I can watch certain shows. So we're gonna cut for a few minutes, come back, and hopefully we will have a tweet. So we're just gonna.
All right, here I'll disconnect.
Okay. So yes, it obviously because of crackling it is Jason's side of things. It's an international one, so please bear with us. But if you're massive Green Lantern fans, keep watching. Oh, okay. Oh, now it's just waiting. Thank you for all joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As you've heard, I am going to try and get a season around for the Young Justice quiz, but I've got to wait until the ending of season 4 to do that. There is going to be a Wally West round, which Jason won't be hearing right now. So hopefully we can get that. And if we can get Jason, we can get Steph and other people that haven't been on the show yet. That would be brilliant. I am still stalling until he comes back. Ad-libbing is not my forte. Tiffany Chan, bless you. Oh, glad you can make it, Tiffany. And Sarah Flynn, pleasure to meet you. Sam V, pleasure. I hope you're all having a lovely time. Oh, come on. Now you see, this reminds me of when I was waiting for him. I sent him this invite, and then it's just, is he accepting? Is he accepting? Is he accepting? Yes, I figured that was when he was teasing Tiffany. Unless you're very, very religious. Okay. Oh, I'm losing viewers. Here he is. Okay. Device not connected. That is not a good sign. Thank you. Okay.
Man,
how are we doing?
I'll tell you what.
Oh,
it doesn't sound any better.
It does not.
It doesn't sound any better to me.
No. I think what we might have to do is, if you're happy,
you want me to
with
just
it,
record a video?
Yeah, if you're happy with that,
No.
just do that.
Yeah.
Send it to me,
Okay.
and I will upload it. And I'm sure Green Lantern fans everywhere will love it.
Yes. So we're gonna do this in Razor's voice.
You can do it in whichever voice you like. But hang on, let's see. We got. Give a clue here. We've got you do. Have you ever done a full Green Lantern? I mean, it cuts between you.
Yeah. Hal Jordan.
Yeah, no, you did it, but I'm just like, it goes you, then Jessica, then you, then Jessica's actress. So I didn't know if you did a full one.
What do you mean?
Like the full Lantern. I'm not quite sure if you watch it. So when you
mean I've never said a full Green Lantern oath on in a series, in an animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have ever said a full green one, but I mean,
you said half of one.
What?
You said half of one. That's okay. But we've got you doing green. We've had you doing blue. Thank you very much for that. We've got you doing red. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a fourth one, and we are going to go with violet. Now it's going to be very crackly on here, and we do apologize for you fans. But as we've just said, Jason is going to be very kind and record it and send the video to me, which I will upload to the internet. Yes, we will do. We will do a very crackly rendition now, and then we will do a very nice clean one.
Okay.
Eventually.
Yeah. I'll do the crackly one now on the live broadcast, and then I'll
live on the live.
I'll hang up, and then I'll record one that's without the crackles. All right, here we go.
Yes.
For hearts long lost and full of fright, for those alone in blackest night, accept our ring and join our fight. Love conquers all with violet light.
Well done. And I think that matches up very well with Stephanie's Tale of Two Cities epilogue, which was very nicely done.
Well, thank you for spending time with me, Michael. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure indeed. In fact, if we wait 40 seconds, I can wish Wally West a happy birthday on the 11th of November, which is his character's birthday.
Oh,
Tiffany's clapping.
Because it's 4:59 here, or 3:59 here, and it's whatever it is there.
1 minute to midnight, and then officially it is then 11. Yes, it's now 11.
It's now midnight.
Happy birthday, Wally. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man. Where's the cupcakes? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Well,
as good as you, sugar. Yeah.
I am still adamant he isn't dead, but in the future, due to light speed theory.
From your lips to Greg and Brandon's ears.
You see this lightning bolt hit him, and then you see this energy wave shoot forth. But I'm not going to get into the geekdom. But yes, thank you for joining me, Jason.
Sure.
Young Christmas fans, this has been a very special video and interview with Jason Spisak.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, let hope burn bright.
Let hope burn bright. Bye, guys.